Hey, thanks for making it to Veterans Info Tap. I'm glad you made it. Got some news coming out of the House Veterans Affairs Committee and wanted to share that with you today. I hope that you're having a great day. Please hit the thumbs up, subscribe, share with a friend, all that good stuff. I really appreciate it. Do me two favors here. Hit that thumbs up and let the video run. It helps to push this out to the masses. If you want to support the channel, additionally, please consider joining and becoming a member. That helps me to find you quicker in the comments. Thank you so much, and let's jump into it. The headline here is House Veterans Affairs Committee passes Connolly-Ciscomani Veteran Fraud Reimbursement Act. Reimbursement. So I'm curious to see what kind of reimbursement we're talking about here. So stick with me. Let's run through it, see if we could pick out any nuggets, and we can go from there. All right. Today, which was actually December 5th, is when this came out. Today, the House Committee on Veterans Affairs passed the Veteran Fraud Reimbursement Act, bipartisan legislation authored by Representative Connolly, to make it easier for veterans with disabilities to be made financially whole in the event they are defrauded of their benefits by allowing the veterans benefit. Ooh, this is getting interesting. All right, so I'm going to start that over. So, to make it easier for veterans with disabilities to be made financially whole in the event they are defrauded of their benefits by allowing the Veterans Benefits Administration, the VBA, to reimburse victims of fraud without first meeting unnecessary bureaucratic requirements. Connolly introduced the legislation with Representative Juan Ciscomani. Our veterans have sacrificed enough already, said Connolly. They shouldn't be asked to also sacrifice their peace of mind in the event that they are defrauded of their hard-earned benefits. I'm proud to team up with Representative Ciscomani to ensure that our veterans can quickly and easily get reimbursed without jumping through unnecessary bureaucratic hoops. And I am thrilled the Committee on Veterans Affairs had advanced our legislation today. Good. Getting movement. Movement is good when it comes to legislation. The longer it sits in one place, the more likely it will get stale and stay there and die on the vine, with a small hope that it'll get reintroduced the following year. So, moving on. Our veterans have rightfully earned the benefits they receive, and in the event they are defrauded of those benefits, the last thing they should face is the burden of bureaucratic red tape, said Ciscomani. This bipartisan legislation will allow our veterans to be swiftly and efficiently reimbursed if they do fall victim to fraud. I'm curious if any of you, I know it's not a fun thing to talk about, but, one of us that gets taken for something and can share the story will help others of us not go down that same path, right? So if any of us had been frauded and had to go through the process with the VA, or if you even knew that the VA would reimburse you, even with bureaucratic red tape, right? So I would not have thought that the VA would reimburse me. I would have just dealt with it and moved on. So that's interesting nugget there anyway. So one, if you get defrauded, you could potentially get reimbursed. Two, they're working on making that process quicker. So those are the nuggets so far, and I'm curious again to see if anybody has went through that process. So moving on, I'm thrilled to see our legislation pass the House Veterans Affairs Committee today, a major step towards becoming law. In January 2021, Congress enacted the Johnny Isakson and David Rowe Veterans Healthcare and Benefits Improvement Act. The bill included a provision meant to improve the VBA fiduciary program, which helps deliver benefits to veterans who cannot otherwise manage their finances. Unfortunately, one unintended consequence of the provision is that all cases of benefit misuse now require what is known as an internal negligence determination by VBA before a veteran who is a victim of fraud can be made financially whole. In a July 21 report, the VA Office of Inspector General highlighted the significant wait times defrauded veterans in the VA fiduciary program face due to the universal negligence determination requirement. Some veterans even die before seeing their reimbursements. Sad. The Veteran Fraud Reimbursement Act would allow the VBA to conduct a statistical valid analysis of the misuse cases to determine the rate and nature of negligence on the part of the VBA. The negligence determination would ultimately become a part of the quality assurance measure conducted after the affected veteran had been reimbursed. So good information there. And again, it's called the Veteran Fraud Reimbursement Act. And I'm trying to just see if they gave us any sort of number for it. But I mean, if you talk to any legislative office, they're going to know what you're talking about. So again, like anything, if you support something, and I don't see why you would not support this, if you support it, take a moment. Even if you're not being impacted by it directly today, who knows what tomorrow's going to bring, right? So if you agree with this type of stuff, you don't need to spend 4 hours prepping and go down to your congressional representative's office and have a sit down and map it all out. You could if you wanted to, but you don't have to. At a minimum, the easiest way to do it is either a quick phone call to your district office for your congressional representative. That quick phone call is simply, hey, I'm a veteran constituent, here in whatever city I live in or town, and I wanted to call and express my strong support for the Connolly-Ciscomani Veteran Fraud Reimbursement Act, the Veteran Fraud Reimbursement Act. And I want to make sure that Congressman or Congresswoman so-and-so is on board. And if you do that, your spouse does that, your dependent children do that, obviously if they live in that district or in whatever district your children live in, right? If the veteran sphere all reach out doing that quick phone call to all the different elected officials, your congressional representatives, that's how you get traction. That's how you get movement, right? Now, I will tell you that doing that is probably the easiest way. Now, if you don't want to have a phone conversation, if you don't want somebody to ask you any questions, and you just don't really want to have a voice-to-voice, you can go to your congressional representative's website and they'll have a contact us page where you can basically send them an email through their website. You type in the little bit of information. They might ask you what your zip code is to make sure that you're in their district, and you could just type that in. Same message, right? I'm a veteran. I strongly support the Veteran Fraud Reimbursement Act, and I want to know that you are supporting it too, or something like that. And oftentimes they'll have, do you want a response or not? Do you want a response to this message or not? You can say, yes, I want a response, and they'll respond to you at some point. Yeah, it takes a few days. So anyway, thanks so much for watching. I appreciate each and every one of you. I hope you have a great one. And remember, if we don't take care of each other, something went wrong.